I sat in the doctor's office and found out I was sterile. I have 6 kids. But to understand how a single sentence destroyed my reality, you need to know what I thought I had. 2 weeks before that appointment, I just paid the last semester of my youngest son's university tuition. I remember sitting there staring at the confirmation email like I just crossed a finish line. I called my wife, Rachel, into the room. "That's it," I told her. "We did it." She smiled, but something in her eyes didn't sit right, like she'd already rehearsed what she'd say if everything fell apart. I should have caught that. I didn't. I was too busy feeling proud. See, I built my construction company from nothing. Literally nothing. Raw hands, long nights, years of overtime that my kids never saw because I was always on a job site somewhere. Everything I did, every sacrifice, every brutal 6 a.m. start, it was for them. 4 boys, 2 girls, the most important thing I ever built. That was my identity, dad, provider, the man who showed up. So when my doctor called about a routine prostate check, I wasn't worried. I was 53 years old, healthy, just doing what responsible men do. I walked in there feeling like a man who had everything figured out. The doctor looked at my chart, then at the lab results, then at me. "Benjamin," he said, "do you have biological children?" I actually laughed. 6, 4 boys, 2 girls. I've got the school fee receipts to prove it. He didn't laugh back. "You were born with a rare chromosomal condition. You have never produced viable sperm, not low count, not stress-related, congenital, impossible." The room just shrank. I couldn't feel my tongue. I couldn't remember how to sit like a man who owned his own life. I drove home. I told Rachel the doctor wanted more tests. I showered for 40 minutes trying to swallow the panic. I kept asking myself one question over and over. If I'm not their father by blood, then what am I? That night I waited at the kitchen table with the doctor's report and a cup of coffee that went cold. When Rachel came downstairs, I slid the paper across the table. "Whose kids are they, Rachel?" She went completely pale. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry immediately. She just walked to the hallway, opened the wall safe, and pulled out a faded envelope. My name was on the front, in my mother's handwriting. Inside was a fertility clinic invoice, a donor ID number, and a letter. I'm going to read you exactly what it said because I need you to understand what I was dealing with. "Sarah, if Ben ever learns the truth, tell him it was for him. He was meant to be a father. You are not to tell a soul. Protect him. Protect our name. F." My mother's initial. I looked up at Rachel. "How long have you known?" She told me everything. After a year of trying to conceive, my mother stepped in, told Rachel she was just concerned, booked a fertility appointment and drove her there herself. The results came back. Rachel was completely healthy, so my mother told her they needed to look at me. She said she'd arranged testing through a specialist. She told Rachel I had agreed to it. And here's the thing. A memory hit me right then. A sterile room, a paper cup, a nurse who wouldn't make eye contact, my mother standing in the waiting area telling me it was just routine, that all couples did it. The doctor had told me the results were inconclusive, possibly stress-related, not to worry. I had believed her. I was busy. I let it go. I didn't push. Rachel's voice dropped to almost nothing. "Your mother got a copy of the full report. She knew the doctor personally. Ben, it didn't say inconclusive. It said there were no viable sperm. She told me you couldn't handle hearing the word sterile, that it would break something in you." I stared at that envelope for a long time. "And you never told me." She made me promise, and I was so desperate to be a mother, Ben. I just wanted a family. "What about my brother?" I asked. "Where does Marcus fit into all of this?" Rachel hesitated. "Your mother wanted someone she trusted, someone who would never make a claim. She said it had to stay in the family." I already knew where it was going. She asked Marcus. He agreed. "Your mother picked the clinic, the donor code, the dates, right down to which nights you'd be working late. Marcus didn't need to be anywhere near me, Ben. It was all arranged through the clinic." I sat with that for a long time. A week later, Marcus came through my front door whistling, asking if I had decent coffee. "We need to talk." He looked at my face and sat down immediately. You found out. How long have you been lying to me, Mike? He looked away. Since the beginning, Mom said you'd be crushed. She said you needed to believe you were a father. For 1 second, and I'm not proud of this, I pictured punching my own brother, and I hated how easy that picture came. You all thought I was too weak to handle the truth. No, he said quietly. We thought you'd walk away from Sarah, from all of it. I didn't want that for you. I'm sorry, Ben, I'm sorry. Here's where it gets complicated. Because life doesn't pause for your crisis. A week after that conversation, it was my daughter Victoria's birthday. The whole family came home. Balloons, grilled food, 6 kids arguing over cake flavors, the kind of noise that used to feel like everything. And then my mother arrived. She swept in with gifts, hugged the grandchildren, set everything down like she hadn't secretly engineered the entire foundation of my family. I avoided her for most of the party. But she cornered me in the hallway. She always did know how to steer me with a smile. You look tired, Ben, long week. I looked at her, and something in me just let go. Why did you do it? Why did you decide what kind of father I'd be? You think I enjoyed it, she hissed. You think a man like you would have stayed if you knew. No, I said, louder than I meant to. The room went quiet. You did what was easiest for you. You made my wife lie. You made my brother lie. You built a whole family on secrets and told yourself it was love. The room was completely frozen. My daughter Grace was standing near the doorway holding a plate. Marcus was by the kitchen island. Rachel's face had gone white. My mother straightened up. I protected you, and if you're going to poison them against their grandmother, I'll tell them myself before you turn it into a scandal. You controlled me, I said, and you don't get to do that anymore. She tried to push past me toward the living room. And then Grace moved. She didn't shout, she didn't make a scene. She just stood in the doorway and said quietly, Grandma, stop, don't do that. My mother stared at her. Please leave. The heels clicked down the porch, the door closed. And my 6 kids stood there in the living room, looking at me like I'd grown horns. My son Daniel cleared his throat. Dad, what was that? Before I could answer, my youngest, Samuel, the quiet one, walked across the room and put his hand on my shoulder. Whatever it is, he said, you're still the man who raised us. I'm not going to pretend I held it together. I didn't. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, Rachel found me on the porch. I know I've lost your trust, she whispered. I just hope I haven't lost you. I didn't answer straight away. I needed her to sit with that for a minute. You haven't, but it's going to take time, a lot of it. Then the screen door opened, and Victoria came out in her socks, eyes red. Dad, I heard enough pieces. Victoria. She put her hand over mine exactly the way she used to when she was little. Don't. You're my dad. You always have been. And if anyone tries to take that from you, they'll have to go through me first. I pulled her into my chest, and for the first time since that doctor's office, I actually exhaled. I won't tell you everything is fine. It isn't. Rachel and I are still finding our footing. Marcus and I barely talk. My mother and I haven't spoken since that night. I don't know if we will. But those 6 kids, they're mine, every single one of them. Not because of blood. Because of every school run, every hospital night, every tuition payment, every moment I chose to show up. That's what makes a father. I know that now. So here's what I want to ask you. My mother believed she was protecting me. My wife believed she was doing what she had to do. My brother thought he was helping. But nobody asked me. Do you think any of them made the right call? Or did they take away something that was mine to decide? Drop your thoughts below. I genuinely want to know where you stand on this one.